So if anyone thinks I am psychotic, no, it is just Birmingham. So one of the more surreal events that happened before I needed to actually flee the city is we were released from our homes following the 2020 to 2026 insane hazing ritual because the equal pay team or whatever they were wanted to work out what we were and what we did so they could work out what we if we were paid what we should be. So a woman I'd never met came into the department and asked what I did for a job, and we recorded because it affected my colleagues. We had to go in and explain what the job was effectively. Your brain at that point sort of short circuits. I mean, at 42, you're trying to explain running a 54,000 property network for the city of Birmingham, being one of two people who passes through possession orders for or skill possession orders, sorry, for the city, and given your general education background, that's going to be quite a difficult conversation as well. And you're having it in an office with psychopathic predators and people who are perfectly intelligent and capable of doing the job, but not, they have your background, put it that way, so they're not going to outcompete you in a fair contest. But you get through this process, and it turns out that you're worth exactly what they said you were at the end of it. Yeah, God knows what happened there. But the problem the Brummies have is they have literally no idea who you are. So when I joined the organisation back in 2009, there was a concern about conflict of interest because the old man, of course, ran the solicitors firm who would sue the local authority. We sued them on behalf of his mother because they let her council house run down, and they sued the local authority, charged her a penny for legal services while they fixed it up. So McGrath & Co did pretty well back in the day. So I had to make clear that I had no financial interest in the firm, which I don't. It was sold to GT Stewart. McGrath & Co is there just to be an ethical law firm. It's a bit awkward potentially because of the connection with the I forget what they're called now, the Society of Black Lawyers. May want to rebrand possibly into the Society of African Lawyers or something similar to get rid of the Crenshawist affect, but it doesn't actually matter because of course in court Crenshawism is going to be torn apart, so it doesn't actually do much. So their Society for Protection is perfectly reasonable and sensible based on the current situation everyone finds themselves in because of the Crenshawism coming into Britain. But anyway, we'll move on from that one. But I've totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, in terms of education. So when you grew up in 15 Monk Seaton Road, I mean, if you have that kind of nourishing early childhood, it takes a lot of sort of violent abuse to get you into a Catholic school. But of course, if your life is a hilarious child abuse story based on the Epistle of James, you've got to go through that kind of stuff. You're not going to sound like Richard Pryor unless you went to Bishop Vesey and had them try to kill you repeatedly. Set you up for the rest of life. But anyway, we digress. But yeah, so if your entire life has been sort of sitting, reading and thinking, then you're going to be quite good in terms of a corporate bureaucracy of just observing things. Various former colleagues are going to be quite surprised that you've gone from a obsequious little man who sort of gets on with the job and says nothing, to someone laying siege to Birmingham and with potentially an army, because there are going to be lots and lots of very angry people following the rape gang report being published, because Birmingham is incredibly corrupt and incompetent. The level of intelligence of the people sort of running the court service is so low that the job just couldn't function. I mean, you've got in your case management. I mean, the way the bureaucracy works is if somebody's vulnerable, you've got basically helicopter money. So you say to your bureaucrat, okay, we'll give this person money, and you make a persuasive case. But in many of these cases, the case is so persuasive that if they turn it down, you would cause a fuss and get that through. But because you couldn't have adult conversations in the department, I mean, it just became unsafe. You couldn't actually do the job because you would be attacked by some kind of activist if you tried. So making intelligent decisions in a role where there is a lot of potential violence. So again, you're talking about removing people physically from their homes. with police and bailiffs. So I mean, I'm a huge man, very, very large, very strong, generally capable. I mean, we travelled all over the world, having grown up in a upper middle class family, so I got to hunt and shoot and engage in those kind of pastimes. But of course, you're if you're the son of a criminal defence solicitor, he trains you for life in a clever way, doesn't he? So you can be the sort of Englishman who did travel all over the world and run places. You show up in a different part of the world, you're generally pleasant and competent, and you get on with stuff, and you try to be fair, and people eventually form networks, and you end up running the country by accident, which is how the British Empire started. But the problem, of course, is now the British Empire is within Britain, supposedly, but there are now people saying, well, we hate the British, give it to us overtly in Birmingham and succeeding. So we are in a state of low-level civil war. But the thing about Hegelian hunting is you deal with the Hegelians, and then you've just got Christianity versus Islam, haven't you? Which is a much easier task than dealing with all the traitors in the bureaucracies, but it's because they're sort of ignorant, aren't they? So you interview them under caution, you discuss Hegelianism, so you try and mash two variables together that clearly don't go, and say anybody who doesn't go along with this is mad and can be killed because they're not part of the current religion. The current religion in Birmingham is intersectionality versus Islam, and the Christians are being locked out of meetings. I mean, digitally, never mind physically now. But the reason you should vote for Restore Britain at this point is because Birmingham is currently under siege, as we previously discussed. But yeah, in terms of pay and grading for Birmingham, I think they may have got it wrong. I mean, if you're the son of a criminal defence solicitor and your family is of a British warship, then possibly you shouldn't be deferring to Jennifer Southall.